Did you know Cleopatra was born in 69 BCE, closer to the invention of the iPhone than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and that she could speak 9 languages fluently? This is Drift Off 2, where we bring calm stories for curious minds. Close your eyes, take a slow breath, and let the weight of the day melt away. Allow your imagination to gently carry you back across the centuries. The year is 69 BCE, and the River Nile flows quietly through Egypt. In the glittering city of Alexandria, a place of scrolls, scholars, temples, and towers, a child is born who will change history forever. Her name is Cleopatra, and her destiny will be unlike any other. Her life will weave through beauty, brilliance, strategy, and sorrow, entwining with Rome, shaking empires, and inspiring legends. Yet, this is no fictional tale. This is the true story of Egypt's last pharaoh. Let the hum of the past soothe your thoughts. Allow the whispers of history to lull you into stillness as you drift off into the extraordinary life of Cleopatra. Chapter 1. Born of a Dynasty, Cleopatra the Seventh. Cleopatra was born into Egypt's royal Ptolemaic dynasty, a lineage that traced its origins back 3 centuries to Ptolemy the First Soter, a close friend and general of Alexander the Great. When Alexander died suddenly in 323 BCE, his vast empire fragmented, and Ptolemy seized control of Egypt, understanding immediately its immense value. He established a dynasty that would endure, blending Macedonian Greek culture with Egyptian traditions to rule as pharaohs. The Ptolemies adopted Egypt's ancient symbols of power, the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, and were worshipped as divine beings, yet retained Greek customs, language, and identity. Cleopatra's world was deeply complex. Her family, like generations before, was marked by intrigue, ambition, and internal rivalries. Royal siblings routinely married each other, preserving the purity of their bloodline, but exacerbating tensions within the palace. Betrayals and power struggles were frequent, creating an atmosphere charged with suspicion and danger. Cleopatra's own father, Ptolemy XII or Lates, was a controversial figure whose rule was often seen as weak and overly reliant on Roman support. The immense sums he paid to secure Rome's backing earned him little respect among Egyptians who viewed this dependence with disdain. From a young age, Cleopatra observed this political instability closely, shaping her understanding of leadership and strategy. Despite her father's uncertain reign, Egypt remained extraordinarily wealthy, its fertile Nile Valley providing abundant harvests of grain, papyrus, and gold. Alexandria, Cleopatra's birthplace, was a beacon of knowledge and culture, a city whose great library and towering lighthouse were famed throughout the ancient world, attracting scholars, artists, and merchants alike. Yet, even amid such splendor, Cleopatra knew her kingdom's independence was fragile, constantly threatened by Rome's insatiable appetite for expansion. Even as a child, Cleopatra was exceptional, gifted with remarkable intelligence, curiosity, and an uncommon mastery of languages. She stood apart from her siblings. Ancient historians note her fluency in numerous tongues, including Greek, Hebrew, Arabic, Persian, and crucially, Egyptian itself, a rare accomplishment within her Greek-speaking family. Her choice to speak Egyptian was deliberate, symbolically aligning herself more closely with her subjects, bridging a gap that previous Ptolemaic rulers had largely ignored. Cleopatra's education was thorough and diverse, encompassing philosophy, rhetoric, literature, and science. She was deeply immersed in religious symbolism, aware that as pharaoh, she would be considered divine, an incarnation of the goddess Isis. From her earliest days, she understood that effective leadership in Egypt required not just political skill, but spiritual authority and a profound connection to her people's traditions. Yet, despite her careful preparation, Cleopatra's family life was anything but serene. Her siblings, including younger brother Ptolemy XIII and sister Arsinoe IV, would become both her allies and adversaries in a palace where alliances shifted constantly. Cleopatra grew up knowing that her path to power would inevitably be fraught with danger. Her teenage years were marked by political turmoil as her father's unpopularity grew, eventually forcing him to flee to Rome seeking support. Rome agreed to restore him for a heavy price, further cementing Egypt's dependence on this powerful empire. When Ptolemy XII died in 51 BCE, Cleopatra, only 18 years old, ascended the throne, sharing power nominally with her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. From the very start, Cleopatra was determined not to be a figurehead or Rome's puppet, but a sovereign ruler in her own right. She had studied the mistakes and successes of those before her, understanding the enormous significance of symbolism, language, and personal authority. With this foundation, Cleopatra was poised to write her own story, one that would ultimately become legendary. Chapter 2: A Young Queen and the Arrival of Caesar. Cleopatra's early reign was filled with promise, but palace intrigue soon forced her into exile. The advisors surrounding her brother, Ptolemy XIII, saw Cleopatra's independence and intelligence as threats. Driven from Alexandria, she fled to Syria, where she gathered a mercenary army, determined to reclaim her throne. Her resilience during this exile showed Cleopatra's strategic strength and fierce determination, traits that would define her leadership. Her chance to return to power arrived unexpectedly in 48 BCE, with the dramatic arrival of Julius Caesar in Alexandria. Caesar had come chasing his political rival, Pompey, who was betrayed and assassinated upon landing in Egypt, an act intended to impress Caesar, but which instead horrified him. Cleopatra, recognizing an opportunity to align herself with the powerful Roman general, famously orchestrated a daring meeting. Secretly smuggling herself into Caesar's presence, hidden within a rug or sack of linen, Cleopatra emerged with captivating charm and eloquence. Caesar was immediately taken by her intelligence, courage, and charisma. Their alliance, born from mutual need, quickly grew both strategic and personal. Caesar, impressed by Cleopatra's political acumen and the strength she displayed during the ensuing Alexandrian War, helped secure her throne. Together, they defeated the forces loyal to her brother, Ptolemy XIII, who perished attempting to flee the conflict. Cleopatra resumed her rule, now sharing the throne nominally with her younger brother, Ptolemy XIV, though she maintained true power. Their relationship soon produced a son, Ptolemy XV Caesarion, Little Caesar. Cleopatra envisioned Caesarion as a bridge between Rome and Egypt, a child destined to unify two powerful civilizations. The birth of Caesarion symbolized Cleopatra's ambitious vision for Egypt's future and her personal bond with Caesar. In 46 BCE, Cleopatra boldly accompanied Caesar to Rome, residing openly in the city with their son. This move both fascinated and scandalized Roman society. Her presence in Rome marked her emergence as a significant political figure beyond Egypt's borders, yet also intensified the jealousy and suspicion among Rome's elite. Tragically, Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE shattered Cleopatra's carefully crafted plans. Recognizing the danger she faced, Cleopatra swiftly returned to Egypt, determined to protect her kingdom and secure her son's future. Caesar's death was a turning point, yet Cleopatra was undaunted. She returned to Alexandria, resolved to reinforce her authority and independence, preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. Chapter 3. Return to Egypt and the rise of a divine queen. Cleopatra's return to Egypt after Caesar's assassination was swift and purposeful. She was not merely escaping a dangerous situation, she was taking decisive steps to secure her kingdom's future. Arriving back in Alexandria, Cleopatra moved quickly and quietly to eliminate any potential threats to her reign. Her younger brother, Ptolemy XIV, her co-ruler in name only, soon vanished from historical records, likely removed at Cleopatra's direction to clear the way for her son, Caesarion, to rule beside her. With Caesarion now officially co-ruler, Cleopatra boldly asserted her divine status as the living embodiment of the goddess Isis. Egyptian tradition held pharaohs as divine beings, incarnations of gods on earth. Cleopatra embraced this fully, presenting herself not only as a queen, but as a motherly protector, healer, and divine presence, deeply resonating with her Egyptian subjects. Her son Caesarion was portrayed as the god-child Horus, reinforcing the symbolic connection between mother and child, earth and heaven. Cleopatra's careful construction of her divine image was strategic, deeply meaningful, and extraordinarily effective. Coins from her reign depict a powerful queen with distinctive authoritative features, underscoring her strength and leadership rather than conventional beauty. Every temple relief, public ritual, and royal decree reinforced her authority and divine legitimacy. This careful attention to symbolism and presentation set Cleopatra apart from her predecessors and ensured her people's loyalty and reverence. Beyond symbolism, Cleopatra's practical governance strengthened Egypt's position economically and culturally. Her policies fostered stability and prosperity, securing trade routes stretching from the Mediterranean to Asia and encouraging commerce that filled Egypt's treasury. Alexandria became a hub of innovation and culture, flourishing under her enlightened patronage. The city's library, schools, and temples thrived, making Alexandria a beacon of knowledge and culture that drew scholars from across the known world. Yet Cleopatra remained keenly aware of Rome's looming shadow. With Caesar gone, Roman politics were once again volatile. Cleopatra closely monitored the rise of Octavian, Caesar's heir, whose ambitions were becoming clearer. Octavian's growing power concerned Cleopatra deeply, and she maintained careful diplomatic engagements, strategically waiting for the right moment to forge new alliances that would protect Egypt's sovereignty. Cleopatra knew that Egypt's security required not just internal strength, but skillful navigation of Rome's shifting alliances. Her careful diplomacy would soon bring her face to face with another powerful Roman figure, Mark Antony, a meeting destined to once again intertwine her life with Rome, reshaping her legacy in profound ways. Chapter 4. Mark Antony and a Divine Alliance. Following Caesar's death, Rome descended into turmoil once more, divided by competing factions and powerful ambitions. Cleopatra watched carefully, understanding that Egypt's future would depend on her ability to navigate these dangerous political currents. When Mark Antony, one of Rome's most influential leaders, summoned her to meet in Tarsus in 41 BCE, Cleopatra recognized the critical opportunity. She knew this encounter would be far more than a diplomatic meeting. It would shape the fate of her kingdom. Cleopatra arrived in Tarsus in spectacular fashion, determined to impress Antony and establish her authority immediately. Her entrance was legendary. she sailed along the Cydnus River in a lavish barge adorned with gold, silver, and richly coloured purple sails. Attended by servants dressed as divine nymphs and accompanied by music and incense, Cleopatra presented herself not merely as a queen, but as Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. This theatrical display captivated Antony, who was famously drawn to spectacle, charm, and power. Their alliance quickly evolved beyond political necessity into a profound personal and romantic relationship. Antony, captivated by Cleopatra's charisma, intelligence, and strength, followed her to Alexandria, where their bond grew even stronger. Together, they indulged in luxurious feasts, extravagant celebrations, and intellectual exchanges. Cleopatra met Antony as an equal partner, enhancing her status in his eyes and reinforcing her own sovereignty. Their union soon produced twins, Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, further intertwining their fates. These children symbolized the grand aspirations Cleopatra and Antony shared, ambitions of creating a powerful empire uniting the best of Egypt and Rome. To celebrate their union and its political significance, they held an extravagant ceremony known as the Donations of Alexandria. During this event, Antony declared Caesarion the legitimate heir of Julius Caesar and awarded kingdoms to their children, actions that were deeply symbolic and provocative. However, these grand gestures inflamed tensions in Rome. Octavian, Antony's political rival and Caesar's heir, skillfully portrayed Antony as a traitor who had fallen under the spell of an exotic queen. Rome's public opinion turned sharply against Antony and Cleopatra, setting the stage for conflict that would ultimately test their alliance, their love, and Cleopatra's very sovereignty. Cleopatra, aware of the dangers ahead, continued to fortify Egypt politically and economically. Yet, she also prepared herself emotionally and strategically for the inevitable clash with Rome. Her resilience and foresight defined her reign and prepared her to face the most significant challenges yet to come. Chapter 5: War with Rome and the Battle of Actium. Tensions with Rome escalated sharply following the Donations of Alexandria. Octavian skillfully stirred Roman sentiment against Antony and Cleopatra, presenting their union as a direct threat to Roman values and stability. In 31 BCE, the rivalry erupted into open conflict at the decisive Battle of Actium. Cleopatra and Antony assembled an impressive fleet, confident that victory at sea would secure their rule and preserve Egypt's independence. The battle was fought off the coast of Greece, where Antony and Cleopatra's grand fleet faced Octavian's smaller yet expertly commanded ships led by Agrippa. Initially, the fight seemed evenly matched, but quickly it became clear that Octavian's lighter and swifter vessels held the advantage. In a moment shrouded in mystery and speculation, Cleopatra's flagship unexpectedly withdrew from the battle, prompting Antony to follow, leaving their forces leaderless and vulnerable. This retreat resulted in a catastrophic defeat. Antony and Cleopatra returned to Alexandria, their dreams of empire severely damaged, their military might significantly reduced. Back in Egypt, they desperately sought solutions, reinforcing their city's defenses and exploring diplomatic avenues to preserve their kingdom's autonomy. Despite Cleopatra's attempts at negotiation and compromise, Octavian was relentless. His forces steadily advanced, isolating Egypt and systematically dismantling their remaining support. Antony, stricken by defeat and despair, became withdrawn, leaving Cleopatra increasingly burdened with the defense of her kingdom and the protection of her children. Ultimately, as Octavian's legions neared Alexandria, Antony, mistakenly believing Cleopatra had already taken her life, inflicted fatal wounds upon himself. He died in Cleopatra's arms, a tragic culmination of their passionate, turbulent partnership. Cleopatra, faced with the stark reality of capture and humiliation at the hands of Octavian, prepared herself for one final sovereign act. Chapter 6. The Death of Cleopatra. As Octavian's forces marched into Alexandria, Cleopatra made her final decision with unwavering resolve. Fully aware of the humiliation, defeat, and captivity that awaited her, she chose to face her fate on her own terms. Draped in the finest royal garments, she adorned herself with gold-threaded robes, jewels that reflected her divine status, and placed the diadem of Isis upon her brow, affirming her identity as both queen and goddess. Her final moments were not marked by haste or panic. Instead, they were measured and purposeful, exuding a sense of dignity and grace. While accounts of Cleopatra's death vary, with some citing the venomous bite of an asp hidden in a basket of figs, and others suggesting a poison discreetly concealed among her perfumes, one truth remains. Her death was an act of sovereignty. She would not be paraded as a trophy of conquest, subjected to the humiliation of Rome's triumph. Instead, her passing was an undeniable assertion of autonomy and defiance. With Cleopatra's death, Egypt lost its last pharaoh, signaling the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Yet, her legacy transcended her death, continuing to inspire and captivate for centuries to come. Cleopatra's life stands as a testament to extraordinary strength, intellect, and passion, a story that endures, ever fascinating and timeless. Chapter 6. Cleopatra's Legacy. Though Cleopatra's death marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty, her influence endured long beyond her lifetime. In the immediate aftermath, Egypt was absorbed as a Roman province, and the once independent kingdom became a part of Rome's sprawling empire. Yet the memory and image of Cleopatra continued to captivate imaginations far and wide. In Rome, Cleopatra's legacy became intertwined with propaganda, depicted as both seductress and villain, a foreign queen whose ambition and charm had nearly undone the virtuous republic. Roman historians and poets crafted narratives emphasizing her exotic allure and perceived threats to Roman virtue, shaping perceptions that lasted for centuries. Beyond Rome, Cleopatra's memory thrived in legends, stories, and works of art. Her life inspired countless interpretations through literature, theatre, and visual arts, each retelling illuminating different facets of her multifaceted persona. Shakespeare immortalized her as a passionate heroine in his tragedy, Antony and Cleopatra, highlighting her complexity, strength, and emotional depth. Throughout the Renaissance and into the modern age, artists and writers continually revisited her story, each era rediscovering Cleopatra through its own lens. Cleopatra's cultural resonance persisted into contemporary times. In film and literature, she has been portrayed variously as a feminist icon, a political mastermind, and a tragic lover, each portrayal reflecting contemporary ideas and values. Modern historians, moving beyond sensationalism, have increasingly recognized her political acumen, linguistic brilliance, and strategic genius, emphasizing her true significance as a powerful ruler and a remarkable woman in history. Cleopatra's enduring fascination lies not only in her historical significance, but in her embodiment of timeless themes: ambition, power, identity, love, and legacy. Her story invites reflection on the complexities of leadership, the intricacies of cultural identity, and the enduring human desire for autonomy and respect. As you drift gently into restful sleep, let the story of Cleopatra, a queen who navigated extraordinary circumstances with wisdom and courage, linger softly in your thoughts. She remains a figure who defied conventions, shaped history, and continues to inspire curiosity and admiration through the ages. And now, the sands of time settle once more. The palace is quiet. The Nile flows on. Somewhere beneath the stars of Egypt, the spirit of Cleopatra rests. Not just as a queen, not just as a legend, but as a woman who lived boldly, loved deeply, and shaped the world with her will. She stood at the heart of empires, spoke in the language of gods and scholars, wore crowns, commanded armies, and dared to dream beyond the boundaries of her time. And though centuries have passed, the temples have faded, and her tomb lies hidden beneath stone or sea, her story still lingers, like perfume in the air, like a voice just barely heard through silk curtains, like a flame that flickers gently in the hush of night. So now, let your thoughts drift softly down the Nile. Let the golden light of Alexandria warm your mind. Let the distant echo of harps and laughter carry you through sleep. Imagine marble columns and open courtyards, the hush of papyrus turning under moonlight, the whisper of Cleopatra's voice as she reads or speaks or dreams. And as you drift off, you carry with you the story of a queen who never truly disappeared. She lives in memory, in mystery, and in every dream spun from the threads of history. Good night, and thank you for journeying with Drift Off 2.